Joining us now is former Congressman Ted Deutch. He's the CEO of the American Jewish Committee. That is the group that was hosting the event where those murders took place. Congressman, I'm sorry to be talking to you on such a somber occasion, but can you shed any more light beyond what we just learned in that report and what police have told us about what exactly happened last night?
Yeah, thanks very much, Willie. I'm really sorry to have to join under these circumstances. Last night, AJC hosted a big event for young leaders in our community, young leaders to come together around the topic of humanitarian diplomacy, ways to address the challenges across the Middle East through humanitarian assistance in an interfaith way. We brought together so many young people who are committed to standing together as a Jewish community with our allies, with our friends. And what happened after the event last night is really the realization of all of the Jewish community's worst fears. This is what the community has been afraid of for all of the rallies and chants and dangerous rhetoric that we have said time and time again. Antisemitism isn't violent until it becomes violent. We don't know exactly what happened here, except that Sarah and Yaron, two incredible young people involved in the community, Sarah deeply involved with AJC, are gone. They were murdered. The messages of support that we've received from around the world started with the same question over and over and over. How can this be the reality that we are living in? This is the time for action.
Ted, we certainly extend our condolences here. Talk to us a little more about the worry that has existed in the Jewish community. You know, in some ways ever present, but particularly since October 7th, 2023, the reaction, we see the war in Gaza, how that's fueled such anger and unrest across the world and here in the United States as well. How that's manifested itself, where I know Jewish friends say that this is as afraid as they have been to just walk the street in a very long time.
The question, to follow your question with a question, how are we supposed to feel now? How is the Jewish community supposed to feel now? We've been saying that when people chant slogans about murder, when they take the side of terrorists, when they march in the street calling for violence, that this is the outcome, that this is what we face. This is unfortunately, this horrific night is unfortunately, as shocking as it is, it's not surprising. This is the moment where the entire community, not just the Jewish community, the entire community across the United States and around the world has to stand up and say enough. We can't tolerate this. We can't tolerate this kind of violence. We can't tolerate this kind of hatred. Yes, the Jewish community, in so many instances, since October 7th, AJC's data has proved this. Jewish community has changed behavior, where to go, what to say, how to appear in public out of fear of anti-Semitism. And we've told people this. And the question is always, well, what is it that you're ultimately worried about? Well, last night we saw what the worry was, why it was valid. Yaron and Sarah, an Israeli Jew and an American Jew, were gunned down. And at this moment, the only option that we have is to come together across the country and across the world and just demand that we can't accept this. We can't accept this.
Richard Haas, a young couple, reports say, engaged to be married. That beautiful couple we see right there, just walking out of an event there at the Jewish Museum in Washington. This is, as Congressman Deutch says, this is the next step from the rhetoric that too many people in our country and around the world have dismissed as just rhetoric, as just talk, as free speech, which it often is, of course. But this is the next manifestation of that to violence.
It is, and you create a context, and any then Jewish event, be it a religious event, a social event, a political event becomes a potential target. Someone walking down the street wearing a yarmulke, or someone who's obviously Jewish by their appearance, suddenly becomes, again, a potential target. And suddenly vulnerability becomes a way of life. So my question for Ted, for the congressman in his position as head of the AJC is, what more can the government do? Can authorities do? I understand there's a limit to what you might call local security, what you could put on at your events, what every synagogue can do outside. There's things that can and should be done, but ultimately there's limits. What more would you like to see from federal government, state, city in the United States?
Well, actually, thanks, Richard. It's a question about a government, but it's really a question about society as a whole. The government's response last night is very powerful. The Trump administration, Mayor Bowser's administration, there's been a prompt response. Look, there are nonprofit security grants that need to get funded so that Jewish community institutions are safe and other nonprofits are safe. But there are steps that can be taken to harden assets, but it's more than thinking about how to actually protect buildings. And the question is, how do we make it so that Jews don't have to fear being together in one place and representing a target? And that's not just government, that's whole of society. This is what AJC has been advocating for years around the world. It requires everyone to stand up and say, we're not going to tolerate anti-Semitism. When someone has a sign, orders a sign that says F the Jews in Philadelphia, that there aren't others in the bar who chuckle and applaud and laugh. Or when a video is made called Heil Hitler and it's posted on a social media site, and it's not just one person making a video, but a dance crew and producers and all the action that went into doing that. When anti-Semitism is normalized, that's where we start to see the real danger that results in the violence that we saw last night. And everyone has a role to play in making sure that that doesn't happen, that we never tolerate the kinds of anti-Semitism that can lead to this.
You know, Congressman, as you point out, yes, things have been exacerbated since October 7th, but this is a old generation, centuries, millennia old problem. I remember talking to my kids years ago about why 2 doors down from our apartment building where there's a synagogue, that during the weekend there were New York City police officers in tactical gear outside a synagogue. They couldn't understand why that is, and that was a hard conversation, but an important one. So in this moment, in this time, given the news of last night in Washington, what is your message to all of our Jewish brothers and sisters in the country here?
Willie, I appreciate that. The message is clear. The Jewish community, the Jewish people is resilient. Throughout our history, time and time again, facing persecution, being chased out of countries, facing violence. Ultimately, in the Holocaust, the attempt to eradicate the entire Jewish people. Time and time again, we've gotten up, we've become stronger, and we've made positive contributions to every community in which we have lived throughout history. The Jewish community is strong and will remain strong everywhere around the world. It's a message I don't need to give to the Jewish community because we understand that it's who we are. It's a message that our friends and allies need to hear. The messages of support and condolences, they're very, very deeply appreciated. But more than that, we need friends and allies to stand with us to push back against this evil hatred that, as you point out, has plagued the Jewish community and the world for millennia. Frankly, we can't accept it. We should never accept it. Our entire framework of our government, our democracy, the kind of world we live in, is better when we come together to fight to eradicate anti-Semitism.
And certainly our thoughts this morning with the families and friends of those 2 young people taken far too soon in this terrible act of violence. CEO of the American Jewish Committee, Ted Deutch. Ted, thank you for joining us this morning. Our condolences again.
Thanks so much.